Hey, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Javier In The Air, Season 5, Episode 18. For those of you who are first coming on, welcome to the show, my little corner of the internet. Those of you who have been here before, welcome back. So we're going to get into our Trash in the Hood. It's going to be weeks 109 and 110. That's correct, 109 and 110 weeks. I have been doing this, and so it's been really good. I've been getting a lot of great feedback from individuals when I walk around, and also on here as well. So if you have any thoughts, comments, or feedback about it, please let me know. Also, going to get into our Zen Moment. Going to get into the bench that I have out front. I've had it for many years now, and I finally decided to fix it because I had it. Well, I'll go into that when I go over the project itself, and then if I have time, we'll get into our spirit time and see what I have in the fridge that I can bring out and taste for you guys. We'll be doing pumpkin soon. I think we're going to spread it out across a couple of weeks, and so I think it's going to be the best way. Brother Rob and I, and maybe some others, may be joining to get it done, so to speak. So this is be our fourth year, I think, doing this. Fourth, maybe even fifth in the entire time I've been doing the show. But I'll have to go back and look at it. But hopefully we'll have some good beers this time. So why don't we go ahead and get started and go with Trash in the Hood. Dark Frog Social Media presents Trash in the Hood, weeks 109 and 110. Hey everybody, welcome to Trash in the Hood. So this was week 109, day 2. You see in the yellow circles are a couple of crazy looking vape pens, and then the arrows were for a large shirt that I found while we were walking. So I gathered that up, and so it's underneath that. Everything else is beer cans and water bottles and all that. It's a Tuesday, so plus the cigarette butts. So Tuesday usually finds big stuff. So here's day 4, week 109. This was interesting. Found a latex glove. I find them usually. Actually, it's a worker's hard latex glove. Bunch of trash and lint and beverage containers and whatnot. It's all a little bit crazy. Plus the cigarette butts. I didn't find a lot, but I did find a bunch of Swisher Sweet type cigarello wrappers that you see there in the middle of the page, and so that was rather interesting to find. So then if we switch to week 110, day 2, you'll see big stuff again. A big piece of cardboard. Underneath that was I believe it was a towel, like a workman's towel. A large number of cigarette butts, which means that somebody was partying over the weekend. Some more cigarello wrappers, toilet paper container, or the whatever that you want to call it, rubber, and then a bunch of miscellaneous junk. And now this is week 110, day 4. And as you see there, more beverage cups, which seems to be the goal of litterers this week. Lots of plastic. So that green is like a tie-down type plastic that you find wrapped around pallets and such. And then there was plastic straws and plastic containers and plastic bags and plastic water bottles on top of the soda bottles, on top of the beer containers and whatnot. Plus, as always, the cigarette butts. So it was really a bunch of plastic on this day, a little crazier than normal crazy. I don't know about you guys, but for any of you that get on camera like I do from time to time, or just look at yourself in the mirror, you'll notice that there's different things. Like I noticed that I'm getting more and more white in my beard and more white in my hair. Plus, I've been letting the hair grow out, so it looks different than what it used to. In seasons 1 and 2, even season 3, I like to keep it really short, but I decided to grow it out, and I've gotten positive feedback on that. So, especially from ones that I want positive feedback from. So, I'll be keeping this hair Though it does take some getting used to. I've never really had to comb my hair before, or it's been, I mean, I have, but it's been a long, long time. So interesting to always see differences in your physical appearance when you look in the mirror or when you use a camera. And you get to see a little flash back in time to see how you looked, like for me, like 5 years ago. So when I started doing this video. Um, so for those of you who have not been a lot on my show or first time to the show, as I said, welcome. Also, I'm trying to find more things to do. I'm going to be adding my. I'm saying a lot today, so I forget. I apologize for that. I'll be using. We'll be doing a lot of pumpkin tasting over the next couple of weeks, so I'll be adding that to the show. Trying to still get interviews with individuals or mom and pop organizations or mom and pop businesses. So if you have a mom and pop business, be sure and let me know, and if you'd like to be on the show. Also, if I'm always looking for a guest host, so if you want to take on an episode or two with me, please feel free. I know I can set up my studio here in my house so that we can have two cameras going and do like a true cast type of thing. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Okay, so we're going to go now into our Zen moment, which I get a lot of kudos for and a lot of feedback, so I appreciate all of that. Whether it's good or bad, I appreciate the feedback. So let's go straight now into our Zen moment. And there you have it, our Zen moment for this episode. So people have been asking me a little bit about where am I finding the images that I'm getting. So the last couple of episodes, I've been doing AI generated images that I get through my editing software. So it's very interesting. So I jumped on the AI bandwagon, so to speak. I mean, it's generating images that, in fact, this last one you saw was kind of claymation, but it looks like it's designing stuff off of Aardman, which is the people that brought you Wallace and Gromit. There you go. So I wanted to try it out and see what it was for fall, even though fall doesn't start for another 15 days, 14 days. But I wanted to try it out and see. Is it 14 days? Yes, it's 14 days. So 2 weeks from now is when fall will start, so I'll have an actual official fall episode. But I wanted to try it out. So the AI generated images that I've been using last time I think I used some spatial outer space crazy ones. and I wanted to try it out. So it's I like the images, don't get me wrong, and you can choose from a variety of different genres and stuff like that, and then you put in your description. So for this one, for example, I said it's fall, people are laughing and joking, and they go to the town fair to buy purchase items. So there you go. So that was pretty straightforward. The one I did last time was a little bit too esoteric, and so it didn't know exactly what it was trying to do. I think I put too much information in there. So if you keep it simple, yes, and we know how that goes. If you keep it simple, then you'll be able to generate some images that you may be able to use. So if you're interested in the software that I'm using, please reach out to me and I can tell you what it is. It's also marked all over the place, I think, so you'll probably find out what it is. And I've mentioned it enough times, I don't need to mention them now because they're not paying me for this, so there's no reason for me to keep mentioning them when they're not giving me any cheddar for my effort. So anyway, and this is, by the way, this is still a non-profit. I'm not getting paid to do this show. So until that happens, I can post just about everywhere as long as I am sure that no one's paying me, which no one is. So, okay. So anyway, AI generated. I've also used some music in the past, which turned out pretty neat. I don't know what rules it goes by. I'm not giving it rules. I'm just telling it it would be nice to have this type of music, and it generates from there. So there have been times where I didn't use it at all because it wasn't very good or it didn't match what I was trying to do. And then I have used it before, and I think I mentioned when I used it. So I'll be using a lot more AI stuff so we can see how it works. And then maybe I'll actually do some AI typing that you can see a conversation with AI, but that's probably down the line. So, all right, so from here, I think we're going to go into my bench work. So I will gonna have some pictures with the voiceover, and so I'm gonna start from scratch and go from there, and then let you know how it went, so, and then you can see how it went as well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about it afterwards, please feel free to send me your thoughts on it. If you have any projects that you've worked on that you're proud of, please send my way. Even if you're not proud of it, others may be, so you can send it my way as well, and I'll get it on the show. So let's go to my bench. All right, so when I first moved into my house, which is actually coming up on 10 years next week, um, I found, there was a garage sale right around the corner from me, and I got in my truck and I drove to it because I was looking for yard stuff to put in my yard for sitting because I had a great front yard and a great backyard. So I came across this young guy that was selling this bench along with a table, outdoor table with the glass top, and 4 chairs. Now, these things are some of the heaviest outdoor benches and outdoor wear that I've ever seen in my life. This itself probably weighs about 80 pounds. It is heavy duty. It is wrought iron, pig iron. I don't know what kind of iron is it. I just know that it's supremely heavy. And so, unfortunately, after a couple years, or actually after a couple of months, the wooden slats that were across the bench for you to sit on were rotted away. So I removed them and I replaced them with a couple of wooden pieces that I gathered together from old old deck, I should say. And then I painted them, and they lasted a while, but then they kind of burned out too because of just direct sunlight. So I went ahead and removed them, and it's probably been close to 2 years now that I finally got around to doing it. It was going to be a labor of love, and it was going to be labor intensive, so I had been putting it off. And finally I said I couldn't do it anymore. So here's the start. Okay, so this, it was some wood that I had left over from another project. Actually, I disassembled that project years ago, and I have been holding on to this wood for who knows why, but now I know why. So these were just 1x8s, I believe, and they were just use, and they were already stained with a black mahogany stain on there. So I went ahead and decided to just keep the black on there. I also spray painted them so that they would be darker black. And I used a spray paint here in another shot, and I'll show you in a second. And decided that this was going to be the base underneath the top that I was going to put on there for the bench itself. So this would give it a little bit more stability, and would hopefully be able to manage like my weight along with somebody else on there. So it turned out real nice. So even though I know the adage that my grandfather taught me, which was measure twice, cut once, I still found myself having issues with this bench. It turns out that it may not be um, level or straight, I should say. So you have to cut at some weird angles, and I don't think I did a great job at that. But here is the top that I was doing. These are bullnose, basically stairway steps that I had bought for this project, and I bought it a couple months ago, knowing that I would do it sooner or later. And so I laid them out onto the wooden sawhorses that I had, plastic sawhorses, and did some measuring. And I did some cutting. So this was just finishing the cutting and measuring it, and I put it up against the bench, and it seemed to seat correctly, even though there was some being short on one end, and so it made it a little bit difficult. But I'll go more into that in a minute. Okay, so I went to the local hardware store, and I picked up some black outdoor spray paint, basically Rust-Oleum. And no, Rust-Oleum is not paying me for this show. And I found some matte black, and I decided to go with matte because the original bench itself was a matte finish to it. It did not have a high gloss to it. By the way, this particular bench, if you looked behind the little State of Texas logo at the top, behind it, it actually says 1 of 3,500. So I don't know where the rest of them are, and I don't know if it's worth anything, but just wanted to let that be known. So this was the first coating on black that I had using spray paint, and I did put another coat on it before I moved on. Okay, so here is now the bullnose wood pieces that I had. As you see, I ripped one of them so it will fit on the back side. The one towards the top of the picture is actually what's going to be in the front of the bench. And I stained these with a color called red mahogany. So what I did actually first is I applied a pre-stain to it. A pre-stain helps to close some of the pores of the wood a bit, so that when you stain, you get a little bit of a different stain than if you were to just go straight directly onto the wood. Now I know this is not the type of wood that usually takes a dark stain, but I use these for my stairway inside the house, and they turned out really nice, so I decided to keep doing that. So I applied a pre-stain and then applied red mahogany to it, and this was after 2 coats with a light sanding of an 80 grit sandpaper in between the application, so that gives a little bit more of a darker twist to it. Now from here I decided to go, once I was letting the bullnose pieces of wood dry in between coats of stain, I decided to go a little bit different and see if I could do something extra creative on here, which had its up and down. I'll have to show you. You'll see it at the end. But this was taped away using painter's tape, and then I cut out the area that I wanted. So as you notice, the red is for the bottom part of the Texas flag. So there's 4 mini Texas flags on this iron bench on the backing, and then there was a Star of Texas on top. So I tried to use the white, I used white for that, and I was going to use white for the rest of the flag, and then blue for the left hand piece, with the star there being white. But you'll see what happened. And so here I wanted to show one side of it. So the white turned out really good on this giant star. So again, what I did is, you see in the background at the upper part of the picture, what I did here was I applied painter's tape, and I covered all the area that I did not want it to get white, and then spray painted it. Once again, this is a Rust-Oleum white paint, and the other one was red, and you'll see blue here in a second, and then black, a matte black for the rest. Now these are gloss. The white, red, and blue are gloss, so we'll see how they stay. But I wanted to show you. I didn't do the tiny stars that are around the circle, but I wanted to at least do the big star. Okay, so here's the other side now with all the tape removed, and you can see just from looking at it, the star turned out quite nice. There is some white paint run that you see there at the bottom left-hand side, but I went ahead and cleared that up this morning. This was all yesterday, by the way, on Saturday, and this morning I went ahead and covered that back with the black spray paint on the runs part of it so that it still looked decent. I think it came out real nice. Okay, so here it is Sunday morning now. It did take me another couple hours to assemble because there was issue with the bolts themselves not being long enough when I added that extra layer, which was the 1x8s. So as you see here, the mahogany goes well with it, and I wanted to show the white star again, and I wanted to show it in the location that it's going to be, at least for now, and that is in my front yard. And if you drive by and you live in the neighborhood, or you want to just see it, you can drive by and maybe you'll see me every now and then sitting out there and having a beer with friends. So there's the side. Let me show you the rest. Okay, so here it is at the front with the tape removed. Now I added the blue. You didn't get to see it in the previous photos from Saturday, but turned out real nice. So the downside, are the problems that I came across when I was working on this bench, the assembly part of it, was that the bolts were not long enough. It turns out, even though I had measured 4 or 5 times to make sure that I cut these boards right, they still didn't come out right, and in fact there was gaps. It should have been clean against both sides of the bench, but it turns out it was not. So there was gaps when it came to putting the screw in, and I had to change and re-drill some of the screws. But the Texas flag looks pretty decent. I still need to add the white to it. And finally, I wanted to give a full profile view of it. So you see there the red mahogany on top. Underneath, it looks really bright because of the sun, but it's actually black, those black 1x8 boards that I put underneath for additional stability. I also added screws, nuts, and bolts in the middle, so it will connect the two pieces together more. I went with 1/4 inch, 2.5 inch, and then also 3 inch on the sides for some of the spots, due to just trying to reach into the bolt holes. So it turned out pretty decent. Not too bad. There's still some work I want to do. As you notice, the star at the top, I went ahead and spray painted it black because the white didn't come out very good. Plus it was beginning to run all over the black, and so it made everything else look bad. So I thought it best to leave it black for now until I can figure out another way to do it. But if you have any comments, questions, or you want to know how to do this kind of thing, I can show you everything that I did wrong so that you could do your project right. So there you have it, everyone. And there you have it, everyone. So that was the bench project. It took me a while to get there, and I finally did it. Overall, for those of you who may want to know everything that encompasses that, well, you have to have a bench like I did. So it turns out that bench, I definitely wanted to keep it. I lost the table. If you go back and look into the archives, I lost the table and a couple of the chairs when my Arizona ash tree fell in the backyard. And some of the branches were probably over 800-900 pounds, and so it took out, shattered the table, shattered 2 of the chairs, shattered the glass top. There's still glass in my yard, by the way, little tiny pieces that I just can't pick up, and I'm just going to let the grass grow over it. And it has so far, so it's been okay. So I wanted to keep the bench though, and I have 2 of the chairs still, so those are heavy duty. Those chairs are like 80-90 pounds too, so heavy duty. I didn't put them on my deck when I had the deck, and I don't put them on my slab right now because I have other chairs I can use. So the bench itself, the 1x8s, if you want to put support underneath, bull nose stairs that you can get at any hardware store that has lumber, which I did. I got 2 of them. I got the spray paint, black matte, the gloss, red, white, and blue. I also had some leftover lacquer. It wasn't outdoor lacquer, so I'm gonna have to go back and maybe shellac the boards. But I put it on for now, so hopefully it'll do some protective coating on it. The stain should do protecting coating on it as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and come back over with shellac maybe in a couple weeks to see how the lacquer is holding up. So leftover lacquer that I had from other projects, the 1/4 inch by 2.5 and 1/4 inch by 3 inch bolts, and then of course the nuts that go with it. I used a drill with a drill bit on there for 1/4 inch. I also used a little a little metal bit that's for making nuts or bolts sit flush so that they're not raised above the board itself. So I did that, just kind of cleans out a little area for for the top of the bolt to sit in. So I did that so that it would be flush and it wouldn't pinch on people when they sat, especially in the middle board there as you see it. So I had to do multiple trips to the hardware store to get it done. But overall, I think it's hard to tell because I reused a lot of things on there. Also, you're probably going to need a ratchet set. You're going to need a couple of screwdrivers and a hammer. And then wherever you want to put it, just put it wherever you want. So all in all, it probably cost me, I'd say probably 150, between 150 and $200 overall. And that doesn't include the reused pieces of wood and paint that I use, plus not to mention the stain as well. I've had the pre-stain and the stain for many years now, and I've used it for multiple projects. So new cost was probably somewhere between $150 and $200 to get that bench done. But the upside is that now I have a bench I can sit on in the front yard, so if you go by and honk your horn, I'll be there drinking tea or beer or water or something. And it's also nice when it gets cooler and I can see the sun go down. Then it's also nice when the moon is out so that I can see it as well from there. Not as good as if it was in the back, but still pretty decent. So definitely worth it. If you're a DIYer and you like to do things yourself, it's definitely worth a project. I am not very good at doing DIY, though I like to do DIY. As you notice by some of the things in my yard, so it took me probably, I'd say about 6 hours yesterday on Saturday, and then 3 hours today because I had to rethink the assembly and I had to redo some of the holes and the flush and that sort of thing. So I had to do another 3 hours today. So about 10 hours of work, but it's a labor of love, and you do it because you like doing things yourself. And so it's worth it. Now you could buy it. I priced a bench like that of its weight, and the bench itself is like $500. So and it's marked, like I said, 1 of 3,500. So it may be even worth more than that. I don't know who did it. It doesn't have a signature anywhere. So, but it could be higher in value. Plus, you have to remember it came with the table, glass top on the table, 4 chairs, and all that together would probably be like $2,000 or so. So it's definitely worth it to spend 10%, $200 on making sure that it still would last again. So we'll see how long it lasts from there. So I think we're gonna cut it. I ran out of time. I try to keep things under 30 minutes, and I think I'm just gonna be right at it. So we're not going to have any spirit time this week. However, we will be having it next time for sure, because we're going to be adding the pumpkin tasting that Brother Rob and I do, along with whoever else we can get to go with us. And then we'll be adding it as we do it. So it'll be different pieces for the next couple of episodes, maybe 3-4 episodes, until we run out of pumpkin beer, or until we get really grossed out by the pumpkin beer, which has happened. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll have spirit time next time. I don't have any updates on my gardening. The watermelon I thought was going well turns out rotted from the inside before I could pick it. So I had to get rid of that one, which was a shame because it was actually this big and was looking pretty good. And then yesterday I went and touched it and it was super soft. So I knew It was dead, and I cut it open outside, and it was disgusting. So, but I'm going to keep going. I still have some Thai chilies, and I have some other things that I'm growing. So we'll see what happens. So that's going to be it for this show. Again, for those of you who are first-time watchers, thank you for watching. I hope you will continue to come and watch my little corner of the internet. So please hit subscribe if you liked it, or just like it if you liked it. And if you have any comments, thoughts, concerns, or things you would like to see on my show, please send me a note, however you know how to get a hold of me. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and enjoy the beginning or ending of your week, depending on how you look at it. And I will see you again next time. Thanks a lot, everyone.